Hey everyone, welcome back. Calvin here again. Welcome back to the channel. We're back working on the Allis Chalmers project today. So the last update that we gave, aside from putting the loader on, was just when we took it out last week and hauled some wood up with it and slid around a little bit on the ice, but never really got to point out we did get the headlights put on, and those are pretty nice. We got LED inserts actually from Steiner Tractor Parts. They were only like $10 a piece, and they're really bright. They only work when the tractor's running, but you're not often using your headlights, with the tractor off. So one of these nights when the weather's nice and it's dark out, we'll take her out and show you what those look like in the dark. And then we did get our handle put on for our bucket release. Ran the cable down, got that all hooked up, and it does work pretty good actually. I've used it just a couple times. We threw a big chunk of wood in there just to make sure that the spring was set right. We put that garage door spring on there, and it you dump it and it comes right back up and latches itself. So glad to have that working again. So really everything on the tractor is working pretty much. We will eventually have to go in. The hand clutch doesn't work. There's an adjustment in there that just came loose. So at some point we'll go in to do that, but that's not a super high priority right now. So what we're working on today is the wide front end. That's our next project. We've got that set up over here. It's a bit heavy and awkward to get set up on a stand, so we just kind of made one up out of wood blocks and a little bench. But we took the old bearings out just to see how they looked, and we tried to clean the other setup from the other side over there, and they just fell apart in your hand. Pretty wore out. Everything's just, you can see this one here is all kind of just bent and falling apart. So we've got new bearings on the way from Steiner. Those should be here in the next couple days. And also this this pivot pin here, there's a bracket that goes over this pin and then it bolts on here, and that's what lets your axle pivot when it's mounted to the tractor. And we actually didn't have that bracket with the front end, so got this actually from if I can get their card out, DJ's Tractor Parts. They do antique Allis Chalmers parts. Found them online, and they had the bracket we needed. That's the bracket, and then a replacement pin. So you just cut the old one off, weld the new one on, because the other one was all wore out from all that pressure being on. And I think whoever used this axle, they were pretty hard on it. You can see they broke this piece here on both sides and just welded some scrap pieces over it. So before we paint it, we'll cut that whole piece off, weld the new one on so it looks nice. But project for right now is getting these 4 bolts off that let you adjust. This is an adjustable front end. The tractor has the spin out rims on it, so you can widen or narrow your tires depending on if you're working in crops or whatever. And so the wide front end is made to be able to adjust it to match your back tires. So it's got 4 different adjustment holes on it. But what we want to do, I want to get all of these bolts out of here so that we can pull everything apart, so that'll be a little easier to handle when we paint it, because this thing's pretty heavy now. And we've also got new spindle bushings, because there's a lot of slop in both sides of these. I think this side you can see it, because it's, yeah, you can see there's quite a bit of slop in there. So new bushings are on the way along with the bearings. So we want to get everything pulled apart, get those old bushings out on both sides so we can get everything cleaned up, get everything apart. We'll wire wheel it down, prime it and paint it. Before we do that, we'll cut this old this is that old pivot pin. You can see how wore out it is. Got a lot of slop in it, I'm sure, if you were to put it back together like that. So just cut the old one off, weld the new one on, cut this off, put a new one of those on, and then once all the welding's done, we'll clean everything up, prime it, paint it, put it back together, and hopefully we'll be able to throw it on the tractor. So right now for today's project, we're just going to see if we can get these 4 bolts apart, and then these adjustments here on the tie rods, if we can get those apart so we can pull both of these sides out and get down to some more manageable pieces. So let's get to work. So this first bolt I actually took off before we started the video. I was just messing around with it a little bit, but it was on there pretty tight. I tried using our cordless impact and it didn't want to budge, so we ended up having to get the breaker bar out to break it loose, but it does appear to be spinning loose in there. I can actually pull it right out, so we're going to see if this other one comes off that easy. And it says they are 1-inch nuts, and you're probably saying you should have a 1-inch nut or a 1-inch wrench on there so you don't mess it up, but all I had was a crescent wrench, so we're making do with what we got. Oh man. Alright, got it broke free. Those things were on there tight. It's probably the first time these have been loosened up in quite a while. The guy I bought this front end from said he bought it from somebody else and it had been sitting out behind a barn for who knows how long, and then it had been sitting in this guy's barn for quite a few years also, so it's definitely due for a little love. Alright, so we got both of these off, so we can get the pins out. That one came out. This one's still a little stuck. We get a little persuasion. Tapping out with the other one. Alright. So we got these two out. They actually they don't look in terrible shape, and the threads are a little gummed up where they were inside, just because I'm sure it is from dirt and crap getting in there, but they're not really wore or anything. I mean, the threads aren't all wobbled out or anything, so I think we'll probably end up keeping these. We'll just clean them up when we clean everything else up, and give them a good coat of paint before we put everything back together. So now we'll move on to this one. Hopefully these come out easy and we'll just slide apart when we go to pull everything out. Go get some wrenches for that and we'll get to work on it. Got out the handy dandy socket set. Buggers are in there tight. Right on the first try. 11/16. Oh boy. Oh. Shoot. Oh, of course the other side's spinning, so I'm gonna have to go get another wrench quick. Why is that a different? Oh. Always nice when the nut and the bolt are different sizes. See if we can find out what size he is. 5/8. Go grab a 5/8 wrench. Okay. That feels better. See if it won't let go now. Oh, there it goes. There's our nut. Dropping everything tonight. Our bolt came out, and again, that bolt doesn't look, terribly wore or anything. It's just got some rust on it, so we'll probably clean that up and should be able to reuse it. Save a little money anyway. So that's everything out of this side. So we'll hop over there, hope that all comes off just as easy. See how it goes. Alright, so we'll start out first. Get out of the way. Start out with the big ones. See if they want to play nice. The other side wasn't terribly hard to break loose. And we're spinning. See if we can't get a wrench in there. Oop. Apparently that was giving us some support. This is by no means a professional setup, but it's the only thing I could find to put this up until we can break it down into smaller pieces so we can get it in on the workbench. I can hold two things at once. There you go. It's easy if you let go. And I do have an air impact that I could have brought out here to work on these, but it's just really loud. When you're making videos, it's just kind of a little easier if you're just working with hand tools. I've got to deal with a bunch of crazy noise. Alright, one down, one to go. And we have a bigger nut on this one. Calls for a bigger socket. Inch and a 1/16. I don't know why people feel the need to have different sized bolt heads on the same thing. Ooh. Must be because they knew this one was going to be pain. Let's see if we can't get a little better angle here. Oh. Alright, we're going to need a breaker pipe on that one. You know they're stuck on there when you can feel things in your back popping when you're reefing on it. Let's see what this does. There it goes. Sometimes people just need a little more persuasion. It all works out in the end. Alright. Well, those were stuck on there pretty tight to begin with, but luckily, once they broke free, they threaded right off. So it wasn't nearly as bad as I was afraid it would be. I might have to get a hammer. I'll go grab a hammer and we'll just tap on these nuts a little bit, see if we can break those loose. The old handy dandy hickory hammer. Is that one? Where's that one? Try to put those nuts on there, hopefully not bugger the threads up. See if we can't. There's one out. There's two out. Alright, so we got both of those out. Like I said, these ones weren't worn either. I'll probably reuse them, other than the one that had the different sized nut. I don't think I want to keep that, because then that's just another problem you got to deal with. Different sized. And of course, this one is different too. So we just might be swapping out some of these bolts just so we can get a universal size on them, because I like to be able to just grab one wrench and know that it's going to work for everything it should work for. Oh, goodness. It always comes down to the last one. Oh. I don't know, this one looks a little rough. Thought that might fit. Oh, there it goes. I put some penetrating oil on all these bolts about a half hour ago. I hope that if that soaked in a little bit, it would help loosen everything up. I'm not sure if it helped, or maybe it did. I might have not been able to even move these if I just tried them without anything on them. Fight me right to the end. Alright. That one didn't come out too bad. Alright, so we've got all of our bolts out, which I think should be enough to separate everything here. Now I have no guarantees. I doubt these are just going to slide apart nice, because those do seem to be a pretty tight fit. So I'm going to get these bolts out of the way so there's not stuff falling down everywhere, and then we'll try tapping on it a little bit, see if we can get them to move. If not, then I may have to wait until I have more help so we can rig up a little better system to get this up off where we can work on it. But we'll give her a try here and see what it does. Alright, so I'm just going to try tapping on this here lightly and see if anything moves. It does appear to be sliding out. Might put a wood block on here just so I'm not whacking right on that piece. I don't want to break anything. Alright, let's see what this do. definitely moving. Keep tapping at it here. See how long. Oh yeah, so these pieces are quite long. They actually, assuming they're at their narrowest spot right now, so they're coming right up into the middle. So that is quite a bit that's gonna have to come out. I wonder if we can move that stack here a little bit. That we don't have any pressure sitting on that. All right. It's coming. When we took those bolts out, there were only 2 holes past where the bolts were, and we've got 1 more out there now, so definitely feel it's moving. We probably got another foot or so to go, and I don't know how easily these tie rods are going to come apart. I'm hoping we can save these. If not, you can get new ones on Steiner. This one doesn't have a lot of, I guess it does have a little bit. So we'll assess those later. We might be able to pound this out and have enough slack there to bring that right with it, and then work on that next. Alright, we've got 4 holes now. 4 holes past where the bolts went in, so we're making progress. That wood seems to be doing a good job of keeping that from getting buggered up. Well, there's a 5th hole. Taking breaks just to catch my breath, because that's a lot of hammering. I'd say we're down to probably just about a foot now left to go. I think we're starting to run out of. I don't want to get that so tight that I can't get it out. What I might end up doing is taking that off if I have to get this out. Things are moving everywhere. All right. Oh, I think what I'm gonna do is I think they're called castle nuts. Nut that you put a cotter key through to keep it from coming off. And that's what's holding that on. Of course, the cotter key is all bent up, but I might see if I can pry that out, take this nut off, and get this tie rod right out of here, and we can work on those later. Grab a pair of pliers and see if we can get those out of the way. I might end up having to wait until I can get Dad out here to help me get that loose. I'm not sure what the best way to take these off is, and I really don't want to just go wailing on this bolt and mess it up. So I think we'll call this one here. We got this one slid probably halfway out, so when I can get some help out here with me, we'll hopefully get this tie rod off, and that way we won't have tension here. We can get this slid the rest of the way out. Take this one off. We'll probably just take that one off too. That way everything's apart. Get that piece cleaned up. Get that other side slid out. And then these will be ready to pull the bushings out of. There's 2 bushings on each side here. That's why we've got that slop. So we'll, oh, I guess that is loose. You can pull that right out, but we'll get those bushings replaced. I'm sure this has to be loosened up. I think this whole piece slides out. Put new bushings in and slide it back up in there. So we'll get back out here another night and we'll make some more progress on it. So tune in next time, and thanks for watching. Alright everyone, quick update. So after yesterday I was able to come back out again this afternoon and do some more work on this front end, and as you can see we did get it all apart. So this is just the main axle frame with the wishbone on there. Everything else is off. All our other parts are over here. Just set them in this wagon to get them out of the way, but we got our tie rods and then our outer axles with the spindles in there, and then our center pivot piece in there. So everything is apart pretty much. The only thing we got left is we'll take these spindles out so we can get those bushings out. That way we'll be able to put the new bushings in, but all the major stuff is apart, so we've got it down into some more manageable pieces. So hopefully next video we'll be taking these spindles in onto the workbench to get those apart, and might try to slide these tie rods apart. I didn't end up getting them to slide. I just took them apart at both ends, pounded them out. So we might see if we can get those to adjust, and then after that it'll be on to paint. So stick around. See you on the next one.